Hello, welcome to Shipbuilding 101, a quick tutorial, beginner's tutorial for Stellaris. Again, beginner's tutorial, I assume you know nothing. You're just looking for some quick tips and tricks to get started. So let us begin. The way to access this, left side, ship designer, only way to do it. Just so you're aware, I did cheat to unlock all of this so I could get this tutorial done. Keep this in mind, you unlock all of this at a much slower rate in the game. Also, this is a guide for PvE, i.e. you versus the computer or AI, not you versus another player. So, basics. There are a bunch of different ship sizes. They come with associated costs, both in materials and in fleet capacity. Corvettes are the smallest. They all take up 1 capacity in both fleet and naval capacity. Destroyers take up 2, cruisers take up 4, battleships take up 6, Titans take up 10, and Juggernauts doesn't matter, you can only have 1. Again, and I'm going to stress this now, I try to do this every video, hover over things, they're really good with pop-ups. So it also breaks it down here. My current capacity is 1 Titan, 1 Colossus, 1 Juggernaut. There is, as your empire grows, Titans increase. I don't know how they calculate it. That sort of thing. There are different techs to increase naval capacity. Same thing with fleet size. However, you only ever get 1 Juggernaut. I think you can have multiple Colossuses. Colossi? Never tested it. I don't use them that much. I apologize. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments. Okay, when building a ship, auto works just fine. You can auto-generate designs. They work just great versus player versus AI. But if you don't want to auto-generate, things to keep in mind is anything. These are all considered components. Okay, the more components you have, the more it adds to the cost and the upkeep. Yada yada yada. Okay, these are your basic components that make the ship run. You always just want the best reactor, jump drive, thruster, or sensor you can get. Whichever one's the best, get it, use it. All good. Again, unlocked it through tech. Ooh, we got a 5. There. Alright, so this would be the best at our current tech level. Usually, what you get is this, okay? For combat AI, it's going to depend on the ship you're using. Swarms for all your corvettes, just fine. There's nothing wrong with putting them at pickets either, just whatever you want to do. Okay? These are your defensive components. For your corvettes, the only one you want to use is reactor booster. Just so you know you have the energy to run anything. For defenses, you want to go a nice balance. Okay? So, ideally, if you only have the tech, either 2 shields and 1 armor, or 2 shields and 1 armor. Or, so either 2 shields and 1 armor, or 2 armor and 1 shield. Sorry about that. The reason why you do that is so that if someone goes a weapon that chews through shields or ignores shields, you always have at least 1 layer of defense. So try to go for a balance. For weapons, okay, the things you want to pay attention to are any bonuses and negatives. So greens are bonuses, reds are negatives. So these Stormfire autocannons get bonuses to shields and hulls, negatives to armor. Okay. Cooldown, so how fast it fires. Range. That will help you. So if we range, we'll cover that later. And average damage. Okay, that just helps you do the math quickly. Ideally, again, you want a balance. So a weapon that wrecks shields, a weapon that wrecks armor, and then your choice. I like to use disruptors on corvettes. Anything bigger than that, a weapon that wrecks shields, a weapon that wrecks armor, you're fine. As far as armor wrecking goes, early game, you want lasers. The moment you get plasmas, switch to plasmas. Plasmas are better than lasers in every way, shape, or form. Those are your premier armor wrecking weapons. Keep that in mind. Okay? You can do missile corvettes. If you do, use swarmer missiles. If you use missiles in general, something to keep in mind is a lot of people just load up Marauder missiles or Devastator torpedoes. They skip this. Do not skip this. You need a mix of Whirlwind missiles if you're going missiles. Because the whole point of these missiles is to overload point defense. That's what their stats are designed to do. So if you go pure Marauders and Devastators, all it takes is 2 or 3. Not like 2/3 of the fleet. I mean like in a fleet of say 100 ships. All you need is 2 or 3 point defense destroyers, and you will shut down a ship that is just pure Marauder missiles or any mix of the two. Throw in even a few Whirlwind missiles, and now they need to match you almost 1 for 1. So use Whirlwind missiles. Okay, if you're gonna use missiles. For destroyers, you want either the gunship hulls. You can have point defense hulls. However, keep in mind the AI doesn't use point defense a lot until late game. Okay, and by then you'll probably have battleships. But there's nothing wrong with having a few. You don't need many, you only need a few. And again, if you notice, I've got a nice mix. Again, sorry. Shield destroyers, armor and hull destroyers. Okay? If you use PDF, the way it works, okay, is accuracy, essentially, is good versus missiles. Tracking is good versus fighters. Okay? So usually, if I design a destroyer picket ship, the AI generally uses missiles, or missile-type weapons. I do either an even mix if I can, or 1 flak, 2-point defense. So flak is good versus fighters. Point defense is good versus missiles. Okay. For cruisers, again, all broadsides or missile cores with a broadside core. Again, if you do missiles, make sure you do the proper AI, which is artillery. If you're doing broadsides, you want line. Okay? And again, you want a mix of you want to have at least 1 Whirlwind missile in there to overload point defense. I prefer double Marauder missiles to this. These actually, Devastators work really good as an alpha strike. The problem is, if you notice, the cooldown is 21 seconds, so this fires once every 20 seconds. This fires once every 7 seconds. What does this mean? You can have 3 of these in flight for every one of these. So if this does, we'll say, at best, 25 damage every 21 seconds. This, however, potentially can do, let's do the math, 15 times 3 every 21 seconds. And it gets a bonus to hull. But that is me personally. Again, your game, play the way you want, mix and have fun, that sort of thing. These are just basic tips. Battleships. Remember, these take up 6. 4, 2, 1. Forgot to mention that again. Alright? Broadsides, carriers, artillery. If you don't have the tech for a spinal weapon, there is an artillery bow. But you want your artillery ships to have the spinal mount, to have the focused arc emitter, and a nice mix of defenses. Oh, and that's the other thing I forgot to mention. If you notice, this auxiliary piece, destroyers, all you want is shield capacitors. Cruisers, your choice. You can either do a mix, only shield capacitors, or only regenerative hull, up to you. For battleships, again, you can either do a mix, or want all of one or all of the other, up to you. So artillery. Okay. And then a nice mix of shield destroyers, armor destroyers. Again, artillery sapient AI. Broadsides. It's very confusing. I don't like this. But, you know, a decent mix of shield destroyers, armor destroyers. I go for the large components, heavy on the shield. For the medium, heavy on the armor. For the light, even. For the smalls, even split. But that's me. For carriers, again, for the artillery AI, broadside battleships, line AI. And an even mix on point defense. That's actually what you're mainly using these for, is point defense. Okay. Titans, you don't have a choice. Even mix. Again, your choice. You can do all armor. You can do all shields. I do usually all armor. And then either shield or armor repair. But again, experiment, have fun. You're a game. Play the way you want to. Build it the way you want. For defense platforms. So these are defense platforms that only build on space stations. Early game, you want light. And again, you don't want to mix sections. Just either pure light, pure medium. Keep in mind, nice balance. First, the light stations, you can either do shield capacitors or auxiliary fire control. A mix of both, or all of one or all the other. Anything else, just do, honestly, pure shield capacitors. Okay, as far as auxiliary goes. As far as weapons go, again, nice mix, shield destroyers, weapons destroyers. Early game, almost all you want is light platforms. Maybe some medium platforms once you see the enemy building cruisers or destroyers. But eventually, all you want is large hangars and missiles. With more large than anything else. I like to do, for every one of these, 2 to 3 larges. Alright? Your final fleet composition by end game, as you go up through the game, like I said, you start with mostly corvettes. You can do just pure corvettes, or you can throw in a mix of missile corvettes, your choice. But, 20 of these, a nice even mix as you go up. But once you get to end game, all you want in your fleet is a small number of we'll say around 8 to 10 missile cruisers. And then everything else, a mix of battleships. Your choice. I like to do 5 to 6 broadside battleships. 3 or 4 carriers. And then everything else artillery. Plus a Titan. That is my end game fleet, and it works wonders. Okay, this has been the 101 tutorial for shipbuilding. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to check out my other tutorials, or any other videos I've done. And until we see each other again, remember to be kind to one another. See ya! Hello, this is Gohan the Chinchilla, and we hope you're having a good day, as do I. As always, we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to follow, like, subscribe, or comment. Or even better, come on over to twitch.tv/SparkyTDK and watch me live every Monday through Friday. Thank you for your support.